Hey everyone, welcome back to the Purpose Over Profits podcast. My name's Jeremy Powers, owner of Powers Insurance Experts.
And I'm Jim Floyd, owner of Ascent Total Performance.
And what the heck is EQ? That's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
That's the way I felt when Jim said this is what we were going to be talking about. And I can't wait to understand it with you.
Yeah. So just continuing on this leadership series that we're going through. So emotional intelligence, or the emotional quotient, is what EQ stands for. So we're going to dive into what that is and why it's important as we lead our teams in our respective businesses.
And I'm thankful that you said I was really good at it. No clue exactly what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
I have done some research, and I would say that I appreciate the empathy.
Oh man,
that you were showing.
It's kind of funny. So y'all missed out. So before the episode, we were talking about, and I brought up this topic about because I really want to talk about this. And Jeremy was like, I don't know anything about this. I was like, dude, you do this every day with your staff. And it's just natural. So we want to dive into that because it is an extremely important thing, especially for today's workforce.
That's right. No, definitely breaking it down in today's workforce. And I love the way we've got three areas that we're going to focus on today. Number one is just the emotional side.
Yeah. And so when we look at just what emotional intelligence is really, so we need to recognize in ourselves how we process information, how our emotions influence our actions. But then the bigger part of that is, as leaders, we need to recognize that in every one of our staff members, and being able to understand situations and express empathy in those situations and provide guidance and all that. And it's absolutely a skill that we can learn. It's not one of those things where you either have it or you don't.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think that, like I said, the emotional intelligence, having empathy, like I was saying before, and ultimately being able to handle things like conflict resolution, all of those things within a team, it's a superpower today, because you have people care more about the environment than money necessarily. They want to make a difference. They want to feel appreciated. And so today, business owner, leader, someone who's trying to step up into that role, if you want to gain the respect of the people around you, this episode is key to helping you take that next step in your leadership role.
Yes, absolutely. So your staff members, in order for them to be fully engaged and all that stuff, they need to know that, first of all, that you have their back and that you're going to be able to support them and provide the optimal workplace environment for them. And a lot of that comes back to creating an environment where they have the ability to express things, the ability to thrive in their roles, but know that they're going to be supported through that. And we have to make sure that ourselves, with how we're bringing it every day and how we're interacting, is we need to recognize the situations of, there may be some situations where it's all right, we just need to get this done. Other things like, hey, I've noticed you've been struggling, so I want to really kind of help you with whatever I can, and really be able to lean into those things.
I think for me, and where it comes naturally, is we're in an extremely hard market in the insurance industry right now.
Yeah.
And so for us, when most people are going through 30, 40% rate increases, I got off the phone with a buddy of mine from San Antonio today, and he showed me they're going through 300% and 180% and 90. Like a low increase for them was like 97%. Yeah. So I was able to take that back to the drawing board and say, hey, things are nice here, even though it's unprecedented times for us. But, I remember yesterday going to my team and I said, listen, I know we're talking about renewals and how we need to do this and do that, but I want you to understand you're more important than that renewal.
Yeah.
Like, what I want to make sure is that you know that you were appreciated, because like these are times that none of us signed up for, but the way that you're taking care of our clients, I want you to know that I see that.
Yeah.
And whether it's more time off or whether it's, us getting together and having power hours where I buy lunch and we'll get through this stuff together, just understand that I'm looking at the climate. And I understand that we're in a time that maybe we're not used to. We've become almost therapists.
Yeah.
As we're calling and being a shoulder for our clients to lean on, because everything's going up, from eggs to insurance to the house you want to buy. And so what we're learning is that we also have to have this for our clients,
Yeah.
and then also understanding, I talk about the DISC assessment all the time, but leader, you've got to be on this, because your people want to be led differently. Some people love praise. Some people love public praise. Some people love private praise. Some people need a kick in the rear.
Yep.
Some people need the extra time off to motivate them. Don't try to do a one size fits all for your entire organization when there's literally a test out there that can show you how your people want to be treated, how they react in certain situations, so that you're not left wondering, I wonder why they put in their 2-week notice.
Yeah.
Or why they're not operating as a real part of the team.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing and the biggest skill that can be learned for us as in a leadership position is, how do we have the conversations that need to be had, but making it be a productive manner? And so I have had a ton of these over the course of my career and being a leader in various places. And a lot of it is how we frame. So people are going to make mistakes. People are not going to meet performance expectations and all those kind of things. But we need to make sure that we're taking into account everybody's personality and how we're going to say things and how we frame those things to where it doesn't become a situation of, Jim's pissed at me, I don't know if I'm going to have a job tomorrow. It's more of a, you know what, this was a challenge. We need to get better at this kind of thing. You're doing awesome with these kind of things. I just need you to do a little bit more with this, and framing it somehow in that manner to where it becomes a thing of where it's a productive conversation instead of it kind of going the opposite route. Because last thing we want is, so we have a staff member so that maybe messes something up or anything like that. What we don't want is them going down a cascade of, man, I messed this up. I'm really worried about like not having a job. What is like, does my boss, like, is my boss mad at me? Do they not like me anymore? All those kind of things. Cause we ramp things up so much in our head, and absolutely those are valid kind of things, cause everybody's going to interpret things differently too. But where we can come in is having that skill of how we talk to someone and how we can frame things to make even a challenging situation still become a productive thing.
Oh, absolutely. And I think as we finish this topic, for me, the 3 big keys are just going to be clarity, empathy, and authenticity.
Yeah.
Like if you can take those and say, am I going to be able to come to this with clarity? Am I going to be able to come to this in an empathetic way? And am I going to be authentic with what I'm saying? Or am I just checking a box off because Jim said I should?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you can come into it and really look at that and look at it from their eyes, man, what an opportunity you have to be a leader that people are just yearning for these days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And your organization and your culture, even through hard times, is going to thrive.
Yeah. And I think that concept really kind of leads us into the second part of it, is the concept of psychological safety. And so, when we think back to especially like our parents and previous generations of, working in factory settings and all that kind of stuff, it was usually like, you know what, this sucks, suck it up and do it kind of thing. We can't do that anymore. That's just like, well, a lot of those things were processes, and that approach were built out of being in a factory setting and really having to, you're approaching of, you just need these systems and this is how it goes. And so workforce has changed a lot. The workplace has changed a lot to where now it's a lot more dependent on individual production and individual approach to care and all those different kind of things. So the concept of psychological safety, I find really interesting. And so what that is essentially you're creating an environment where you're not going to fear being reprimanded or being punished if you make a mistake. There was a study that came out, and I can't remember what hospital system it was, but they were looking at nurses, and they did a study on, they created a policy, and I'm probably going to get it wrong of exactly what the policy was, but it was where there's not, if you make a mistake with, medication error or something like that. In the past, it would have been like a big, like you're fired kind of thing. What they did was they created a new policy to where, all right, your job's still safe. So you have some safety with that. And the hospital system's expectation for that is that because there's not this pressure of making sure you absolutely have to get everything right, that they would see medication errors go down. What do you think actually ended up happening with that? It's the opposite.
Wow.
So what it was actually the reporting of medication errors, and the amount of medication errors actually went up. And it wasn't physical amount didn't change. It was the reporting of it, because they created psychological safety in that I know that if I report this, I'm doing the right thing, and there's not going to be repercussions for me reporting this versus trying to hide if you make a mistake.
That's huge.
And I think that really nails it of that you need to have staff members that are empowered to be able to do things. Anytime we're pushing the envelope and trying to do things, we're going to make mistakes with stuff, but you need to have the freedom to be able to do that and understand that, you know what, if I do, maybe this doesn't go the way that I wanted to, or not the best kind of thing. My job's still safe. I'm still going to be supported. I'm going to be applauded for, hey, let's take this risk and let's do this, versus this didn't work, you're out of here kind of thing. And what an empowering thing that can be for every single person in your organization to have that freedom to be able to work through those things and 100%. To be able to take chances.
Man, that's huge.
And not have those repercussions.
Yeah, no, that's huge in an organization, because I think it allows you the ability to operate. And also it's what's best for the patients. You're trying to cover something up that maybe should not be covered up.
Yeah.
Like, you might have saved fatalities in that situation. And so most of us are in a position, thank goodness, where a fatality is not going to be the result of someone hiding something, but it's that fine line of like, because I could easily see where you're like, man, if we do that, then people are just not going to care anymore. Yeah. And it's not that happened. It's that because sometimes stress makes you do unfortunate things.
Yeah.
You can't think clearly. And so allowing that opportunity for clear thinking sounds like it was a huge positive.
Yeah. And I think the big thing with that is, in my opinion for my company is, I want to push the envelope with stuff. Everything we're doing is not going to work. But if someone is scared about the repercussions of doing anything different, they're probably not going to do it. And all that's going to do is just lead to bureaucracy and all that kind of stuff. And we absolutely don't want that. So we'd rather have that psychological safety of, you know what, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to try this. Yeah. And, of course, we need to make sure, like, let's talk about it and make sure we're doing the right thing, that kind of thing. But if all we're doing is just being content with just the status quo and those kind of things, because we're scared of any kind of a repercussion to anything like that, nothing's ever going to improve and get better too. So
an example that I can say for us, like, we have our non-negotiables. Like, we will not sell below a certain limit of insurance. We really believe in what we do because we feel like we're superheroes. And so what's really great is, I'll say one of my newer reps, Alan, it's been amazing. I know agencies that have existed for 10 years and their reps haven't sold as many umbrella policies as he has in a few months. And that is because the way he came in, our non-negotiables were not, hey, we're just trying to make a sale. Is that we want to be the best fit for our client, and we understand that what we do is really important, and they don't. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like we're all taught price. Yeah. Name your own price tool. And so what we do is properly educate, but now that's ingrained.
Yep.
And now he's pushing the envelope to where our minimum limits are 131, but you have to have a higher step to get an umbrella policy. And here he is taking it up a notch. So where you set it, but you allow people to operate, but where you set that foundation, understand that you've got to be happy with the foundation. If you're upset or you can get frustrated with your team because they're not doing X, Y, Z, well, did you set the foundation in the proper place, or are they operating from a different spot? So I think there are in organizations just trying to find maybe the closest thing that relates to that.
Yeah.
Like giving them, hey, this is kind of a script and you can follow it, or you can create your own, but because I want you to be authentic to yourself. But this is the roundabout area where we want to be. We want to say these three things, but I don't care how you say them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as long as they get said first, second, or third, there's no order.
Yeah.
So it's allowed. If there are parameters.
Yeah.
But it's allowing them to operate and be themselves within that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's such an important thing, and I think that's for the modern workplace, and I know the staff members that I want to have, and I'm sure the same for you, is you want those people who are wanting to grow and do all those things. So you got to have that set up to be able to allow for that.
That's right. If they follow the same, if I say, hey, here's the 10-step process and you've got to do every single step, no one's ever going to feel like they did anything.
Yeah, you're going to stifle any innovation.
Yeah, like how excited are they when they did something a little different?
Yeah.
And boom, what it is. And so the third step, or the third topic we're going to talk about, is ultimately decision making.
Yeah.
And so this is humongous when it comes to EQ.
Yeah.
And so would you elaborate a little bit more on that for us?
Yeah. And so, and decision making, and specifically how emotion plays such a big role in that. So I would argue that our roles, your role as a leader of the company, leader of a department or anything like that, is you need to be an emotional leader, but not allow emotion to determine your decisions. And so, and what I mean by that is you absolutely don't want to be a robot and, okay, this is the policy, this is what we're going to do kind of thing. You need to have emotion play a role in how you lead.
Yeah.
People need to see that you're passionate about what you're doing and that where we're going. You fully believe in this new thing that we're doing and all that kind of stuff, because that's what's going to foster buy-in and really people wanting to go along with that. But then on the other hand of that too, when you need to make a decision, you can't allow emotion to be the primary driver of that as well.
100%. I think that the one I took notes on, like kind of when I was really looking for the decision-making process, it's like an emotionally intelligent business owner, you know, they're going to look at the impact on an individual's well-being, on their morale, their motivations, but they're also going to understand like maybe what kind of financial incentives or goals can we tie to this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, we're going to look at where we are. And once again, for me, we're in a hard market.
Yeah.
So it's as to where you were hitting the sales goal, 6 out of 10 people were signing up. Now maybe it's 4. So we've got to understand, maybe we have to reassess some stuff, because in order to get to where we thought we could, it's a lot harder now. And then we've also got this level of service that has tripled. And so I think it's the ability to really be able to look at it when you're making these decisions and saying, hey, let me not just think about me. Let me let's look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
Like maybe there are these things, maybe what we're asking for now, it's not possible because of things outside of our control, you know? And so I think that it's just really smart in that decision-making process to take in all things like, what can I use to help bring to life what I want, maybe like a goal or a bonus opportunity, but also looking at where are we at today, and then where's the morale of my team? Where are we going? Where, like, literally, if there's 6 streets that you can go down at any time, like, are we going down the right one? Yeah. You know, I think looking at all those factors is so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we go to like making a day-to-day decision, anything like that, there have been times when I've been pissed about something and made a decision based off of that emotion. Probably not the best of time to make a decision, right? And so we really have to make sure we're checking ourselves, because it's our responsibility to be able to look at all the evidence, everything that's going on, and make a good objective decision, and not allow being mad about something or being irritated about something to affect our judgment in that moment. And that's a really hard thing to do, because there's going to be things almost daily that you get irritated with or pissed about or something like that. Or, but you have to really kind of look within yourself to make sure that, okay, I need to put that aside to make an appropriate decision. And when it's not based off of how I'm feeling personally. And it's a hard thing to do.
Absolutely.
With that as well is, so whenever we do have these emotional times and doing those kind of things, you know, being able to weigh those absolutely should play a role, but just doesn't have to. It shouldn't be the primary thing with it.
When I think is wrapping up, I think that this is really important. This is something that obviously we as business owners need to develop. We need to spend time learning and educating ourselves and going through training. But also, if you're a business owner with high EQ, you're doing the same thing for your team. You're putting your team in positions to be able to grow, to be able to share constructive criticisms, to be able to maybe go on a retreat or a daily training, or having someone come in that's talking about the importance of this, because everyone's going through, this is a season. And if you're listening to this in 10 years from now, I don't know where and how and what things are then, but right now in this moment, we're in a time of uncertainty. In a lot of organizations, a lot of people's life, we're in a time of abundance, but we're also in a time of just massive change. And your employees and their families are going, maybe your staff's spouse was just laid off and they've got all of this stuff balled up and they don't know how can they talk to you about how could this, and you've got to be the one to open up the floor, because maybe all they're looking for is you.
Yep.
They need you to be more than a boss in this moment. They need you to be a companion, a friend, someone they can vent to. And I think that a true leader is also doing the same thing for their team as they should be doing for themselves, and that's growing.
Yeah. And I think it's what you just said is you're coming alongside someone versus just telling them what to do.
That's right. And we're thankful for the opportunity to come alongside you guys. I mean, this is what the podcast exists for. And we want to help you understand that purpose, it always beats the profit. The profits will come as long as you just keep your mind and your team and your vision focused on the purpose. Thank you, guys.
That was a good ending.